Hello, hello, and welcome to Confidence, Certainty, and Clarity for Leaders. My name is Harrison, and I'm the co founder of Gold Zone Leadership Center and the Gold Zone Group of Companies. And joining me today is the co host of today's session, none other than Victoria. Welcome, Victoria, the CEO of the Gold Zone Group. What do we do at the Gold Zone Group, Victoria?
Thank you, Harrison. What we do in a Go Zone group is a group of a small company. We work with a few businesses, and it's a small group of companies, and we are very passionate in the area of education, leadership, health, wealth, as well as technology. And we combine the best of the best together. But our top passion is in the area of leadership and education.
Thank you. And Victoria, why are you so passionate about leadership? Why leadership?
Because leadership can make or break someone. Well, what I mean is that leadership is the key to everything we want in life. If we understand leadership from a holistic point of view, and how leadership is, if we understand leadership from taking ownership of our results point of view, there's a lot that we can do as a leader, as an individual, as a professional, that most people don't realize.
Hmm.
That's why leadership is so close to my heart. It's not just about having position. And of course, part of the result is that we are going to have more power, more position, more choices, more control when we exercise more leadership.
I see. And you mentioned results. Do people like to look at their results?
No,
Why is that? So if leadership can be a main contributor to increase their results, why 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 do people why aren't they more focused on their results and on their leadership? Why do they spend so much time screwing around with all these other things?
that's a very good question. I guess when it comes to results, I can speak for myself and many people I work with over the years. When it comes to results, when I look at my results, technically when we're in school we look at our result from a score point of view. That's probably what people connect it to. Results
Oh,
means
a
how I
score, like
how
comparison
well I
information.
fare.
Oh, I
So
see.
result trigger a lot of feeling. If I achieve the results I want, fantastic. But if it falls short, how am I going to feel? And that's why looking at our result is one of the fastest way to bridge the gap in our results, because it brings up feelings, and if I can acknowledge those feelings and decide from there what do I want, and bridging the gap from there is a lot easier.
Hmm. So today we're talking about confidence, certainty, and clarity. And aren't these things necessary in order to get the results that we want?
Yep, absolutely.
And doesn't this make us a better leader if we have confidence? And don't we want to follow confident leaders?
Yep. Well, I posted the other day about leadership is about transferring confidence to someone. And it doesn't matter what we do, whether we are a leader in our position or whether we want to buy something, whether we want to sell something,
Hmm.
everything, whether we are leading a team, leading our partners at home, leading our children. How do we get someone to say yes to us, or how do we influence someone to do things in a way to do things for us? It requires transferring of confidence.
Transferring of confidence, but you can't transfer anything if you don't have it, can you?
That's right.
You know, for today, Victoria, our chat on here on the system is not working, so we have to refer to our phones. That's the only
Okay.
place that we can see who's here. So I see Marcus. Hello, Marcus. Nice yacht. Yes, it is, isn't it? Thank you for joining us, Marcus. Marion, hello, hello. Hello from Singapore. Uh, Marcus, where are you joining us from? I'm trying to see where you're coming from. Then we have Sharon. Where's Sharon from? You're from Malaysia, but you're currently in Indonesia, isn't it? Okay, who else we have? Angie, you're from Singapore. Vunsi, where are you joining us from? Just type in the chat where you're coming from so we can see you. I can see you on my phone, but I can't see you on the chat on the screen. So we're not able to put any of your comments up. For some reason,
Yes.
we're in read only mode.
Yeah, and we have Raja from Singapore. Welcome, welcome.
All right. And I see Sri is here.
Sri.
West Coast, USA. Awesome.
Wow. What time is it there?
That's a good question. Must be in the early evening. Which part of Indonesia, Sharon, are you coming from? West Coast, USA. Is that California or somewhere else? Okay. Sri is in Kuala Lumpur.
And
Lee
Lee
Siang
Siang,
from Singapore, otherwise known as Singer Rich. It's funny because one time I made a comment to someone about Singapore that the name Singapore, if you look at it from an English speaking, we know Singapura is the Malay name, but Singapore and then Singapore, we are poor. So
No,
I
we
like
are very rich.
I like to change that. Singapore is quite rich, like in the top 3 countries in the world in terms of GDP per person, number 3, I believe. So I prefer Singer Rich, but I offended a few people by calling it Singer Rich. And I thought, why would you be offended if someone calls you rich? Better than they call you poor, isn't it? But oh man, I think this guy went and blocked me. He got that upset. Must have touched a sore note. And he was Singaporean. I mean, Singerichian.
Yeah.
So, Victoria, can we have some fun today? We talk
Yes.
about confidence, some of these serious subjects. Can we joke around a bit more and make it lighthearted?
Yes, absolutely. Why not? This is the only 12 to 1 p.m. we have on May 15, 2024. We can't get it back. So let's make the most out of it and have fun with it.
Yeah, that's right. So, what's it like to have low confidence? I reckon, from my point of view, low confidence really sucks. I don't like it. If I'm lacking in confidence, I'm destined to fail. So, I can't remember any time when my confidence was really low and I went and knocked it out of the park and I did a fantastic presentation or did a great job with the software or designed something and it was in the zone and beautiful or made something happen when I was lacking in confidence. So, I find that low confidence has no benefit whatsoever unless I like to be taken care of by other people and I want other people to step up and be responsible for it. This low confidence really a victim mentality.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we all go, so Victoria, what do you think about that?
I know what it's like to have low confidence. Had many instances in my life growing up, no confidence, low confidence, you name it. I would say the biggest challenge when I felt low confidence was I felt out of control. I felt like I had less choices. I felt I'm at the effect of the people around me, my circumstances. And it's just like, the feeling of low confidence is there's no energy. And it felt like doesn't matter what I do, it does. It doesn't matter.
Right. Low energy. And then you worry you're not going to make it. And then you have this self-fulfilling thing.
Yes,
And
correct.
so we're going to talk about today the 3 together: confidence, certainty, and clarity, and why they're so critical for leadership and what we can do to have more of all 3. And then why we get better results when we have these things, and when we don't, why our results really suck. And Victoria, what I suggest we do is we put the slide up that we're prepared for the 7 levels of confidence. And then we
Sounds
can
good.
just talk in the background while this is up. How does that sound? Good?
Let's go for it.
All right. We got 7 levels of confidence. Yeah, let's look at this. 7 levels of confidence. I'll go through it and then we can talk about it, shall we?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we have confidence, certainty, and clarity, and they go together. Generally, when you're really confident, you are certain. And I'm going to change the screen view for you, Victoria, just while I run through it, and then I'll bring you back up. So level 1, we have mental confidence, and it's more of a fantasy. We're in denial, and it's mostly in our heads. I like the way Mike Tyson talks about it, that everybody's confident, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. then out the window. So this is level 1, mental confidence. Level 2, low confidence. We react and we resist. We don't feel confident at all. And level 1, we have a fantasy confidence and a fantasy level of certainty and a fantasy level of clarity. So something I hear from people, Victoria, on level 1 is that they say, oh, I've never been clearer. And that's usually level 1. Never been clearer. I'm really clear what I want. I know how to get it. I'm super clear. So this is level 1. Level 2, we are low and know it.
Can I add
Yes.
something to level 1 also?
Yes,
Some people
sure.
have a lot of hope. Like, oh, I have hope that this is going to happen, that is going to happen. And this kind of hope, right, it depends on, like you always say to me, hope is not a strategy. So when we have hope, but we don't have a clear plan, or we don't have a clarity in terms of what's next, or what action are we going to take, those hope are also those hope belongs to the mental confidence too. It's a fantasy, hoping that someone can come and save me from my challenge, from my problem.
Well, that's an interesting thought about hope, because we all want to have hope of a brighter future. We want to
Yes.
have hope that things will get better, that things will turn around. And yet, hope, if we just rely on hope and we have no other plans, no other goals, no other strategies, no support, nothing, then it's just wishful thinking. Then we're going to be adrift, aren't we?
Yep.
Wow. That's very interesting that we put hope on level 1. So what do you think of level 2, Victoria, where we have low confidence, we react and we resist?
Yeah. Yes, I think low confidence. So we go from full confidence. I would say the level 1 is full confidence. Like you say, it's in my mind. To a little bit of reality check, and then suddenly the confidence level is on the low side. And when I know for myself, when my confidence is not as high, my I will feel insecure. So when I feel insecure, generally anything that trigger my lack of confidence will have me react. So it's a bit like firefighting. I'll react and I'll resist, because I want to resist because I want to go down to hoping that it's not like that, hoping that something better is going to come through. And that is a sign of low confidence. I'll resist the reality, I'll resist the result that I'm getting, and thinking that it's going to be better.
Well, you're saying that starting out with hope, then what happens is that once we meet reality, then we hit the react and the resist. So we actually go up this way. So we start at the bottom with hope and denial and a fantasy. Then we hit some reality, and then we react and we resist, and we want it to be different. So that's when we have the most amount of reactive stuff.
Yes, but a lot of people's idea of when we go from supposedly positivity, hope, to seeing reality, when we feel that way, most people think they are going down, but the truth is that they are going up. So the next level is where you get through to even more confidence.
So why do most people think they're going down when they're actually going up? They think that they're in denial. They have this fantasy, and then they hit reality, and they feel like somebody has sabotaged them. Someone has taken them off their clarity. Someone has ruined it for them, and that's when they have the reaction, isn't it?
Yes, I didn't feel this way until it came along, until you tell me otherwise.
That's very interesting. And then if you move through that reaction and resistance, isn't level 3 where you are underconfidence and you comply? Isn't that where you do the blame? So you blame somebody. Level 2, you feel guilt and shame. And level 1, you blame someone else. And that's why you're underconfident, because you're dependent on someone else. You're complying, or at least going through the motions, appearance of compliance in
Yeah,
level 3.
yeah, because a lot of people comply because they don't want to upset anyone, they don't want to be blamed. So the best choice from that place is to comply, so that I can look like I'm complying. Whether I'm actually complying or not is another question. But the on the surface, it looks like I'm complying.
Mm.
so that I
And
don't
isn't
rock the boat, I don't upset anyone, and just don't bother me. Just let me do my stuff.
that's level 3? So aren't most people who are working in a job, in a career they've had for a long time, and they're dependent on a paycheck, they're in this job, and they're underconfident that they could start their own business or do something independent or make it on their own. So they're part of another organization because they're underconfident, and so they're having to comply. And the real issue is a lack of confidence, because, and that's not to say that all employees are in this category, because there are employees who are in the zone.
Yes.
And
Well,
what would
it's not just underconfident to
yeah,
be on their own. A lot has got to do with underconfident to look for another job from another organization that they feel like they can't find anything better.
so you're saying that people who have jobs that they aren't paid what they necessarily would like to be paid, they're putting up with less, and they're not confident that they could get something better, so they put up with this one. They may not love it, they may not enjoy it, it might be kind of tolerable, so they're complying, they're putting up with it, and the thing is
Yeah.
mediocre. But the mediocre and putting up with having a regular paycheck is preferable to the risk that if they were to quit and go and look for something better, that they might not find it.
Yep. Exactly.
And we see this in relationships all the time too, where people aren't in a relationship that they're happy with, they don't feel fulfilled, they're not got what they really want, they want something else, but they're not confident they can find what they really want, so they put
Oh,
up with it.
that's yes.
And who
Sorry,
wants to be the other party?
it reminds me of the Chinese saying, "You're neither here nor there. I'm not really 100% into my current relationship, but let's stick to it. And if something better comes along, then I will leave." It's the same as a job. A lot of people have this job mentality, relationship mentality, and yes, we have a Chinese saying for that.
And that is,
Riding a donkey looking for a horse.
and in Chinese that is,
骑驴找马. When
骑
you're
驴
riding a
找马.
donkey and you're looking for a horse, here's the problem. If I'm riding a donkey, the only thing I can recognize is a donkey. I don't know how a horse look like.
So if you're riding a donkey, all you can recognize is another donkey. Does that
It's
make you
true.
a donkey rider?
Uh, you can say that.
So you become a donkey, because you know how the owners of dogs
Ow,
end up looking like
ow.
their dogs. So the rider of a donkey starts looking like a donkey, huh?
Well, actually, you're right. I used to look at my dog. My dog used to, I don't know which is which.
So this is level 3. These people will ride a donkey while they're looking for a horse, but they don't have the confidence to ride a horse, find a horse, and so they put up with a donkey, saying that any donkey is better than no horse. And this type of thinking says that I'm not good enough, I'm not confident enough to find what I really want, to go for what I really want, to get the clients I really want. I want A clients, but I'm going to have B and
We got to
C.
see clients.
I'm going to have a C client hanging on to a C client and frustrated, and they undervalue your services, but you put up with the C client even though you want an A client. And what they don't realize is this underconfident level 3 can only be attractive to a C type client. It's only a donkey that's going to appreciate you. Even then, they're not going to appreciate you. They're going to nag you. They're going to complain. They're going to
Yeah.
buck you. It's going to
Ow,
be a
ow.
horrible ride on a donkey. C
Unless you're
clients make you want to quit, isn't it? A C client or a C employee or a C boyfriend or a C husband or a C wife or a C relationship makes you feel worse about yourself than if you didn't have one. Yet how many of us are putting up with C level? They talk about the C suite, and what about the C people, And it seems to be this subject that's taboo to talk about, and that,
well, the other
we want
thing,
more. Yep.
yes, the other thing is if I want to attract a client, a partner, company, a employee, don't be a C person.
So don't be a C person, but if you're surrounded by C clients, C partners, C employees, then that means if you look around and everyone around you is a C, that means you are a C.
Yeah.
And
So
if you
I
think
can't
you're an A
complain.
and everyone Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
If you
You think
think you're an A and everyone around you is a C, good chance you're a C, because that means that you're level one. You're in denial about who you are. So this confidence, certainty, and clarity for today's subject is directly related to what we attract, because we're going to attract who we are, not who we think we are. And yet a lot of us, we think that we can attract something different than what we are.
yeah. Actually, Harrison, I remember you used to like to use a blue ink as an analogy in terms of the more we put up with, let's say, C client or C employees, what does that do to us? How do you use a blue ink analogy to help people see the visual?
Well, it's been a long time since I talked about that. Uh, it relates to when you're having a lot of meetings with people who are skeptical, doubtful, they're not certain over what your agenda is, and so they're not exactly on the same page. Maybe they're a bit fixated, because we all deal with fixed mindset people from time to time. Whether you're looking for a vendor, or you're looking for a partner, or you're looking for clients, when you have a client meeting, there's a sale that's happened, an enrollment. So either you're going to enroll them or they are going to enroll you. One of the two is going to happen. Either they're going to enroll you or you are going to enroll them. And this is how it works. So the enrollment is a process that happens in a series of stages. So if you're enrolling a client, how they could be better off by working with you, how you can add value to them, and how the money, the time, and the energy that they'd invest in working with you would be worthwhile. And so you're demonstrating that a number of different ways. You're getting to know them to find out what their preferences are and what they really want. But let's say they made up their mind and they already decided they're going to stay with what they're doing, or they just don't believe you, or they think something else is better, something cheaper, something quicker is going to be better than what you're offering. So they are going to enroll you into their point of view, that what you have isn't worth it. And
Or
so
is not
they're
good enough?
it's not good enough. So let's say you are promoting red ink and they are blue ink. So what happens in the meeting is that your red ink is going to get awash with blue ink, because they're going to be busy competing with you and your agenda to enroll you into why they shouldn't change and why they should buy the cheapest solution. And let's say you're the premium best solution on the market and they can't see it, don't value it. And they're busy convincing you. So you walk away from the meeting without the meeting being a success from your point of view. From their point of view, they're happy. They considered your alternative and decided not to do it. But in the process, they've spread all their blue ink into you. So you go back to your office feeling depressed, demotivated, and wondering what happened to you. You kind of feel like you got slimed and you were just wanting to share and to help, and you weren't forcing anything on anyone. But what happened is they enrolled you with what's wrong with you.
It's
And
true.
that happens when you are low confidence. When
Yep.
you are level 1, 2, or 3, this blue ink can seep into you and the reverse happens. So that's why, Victoria, riding a donkey is so dangerous, because you feel like all you deserve is a donkey. Meanwhile, you're
Yes.
not happy with the donkey, and you see everyone else riding a horse. You want a horse, but you attract donkeys. You want an A client. You see other people getting A client who pay premium, who value them and take little effort, and then you're stuck with a C client who underpays, underappreciates, underacknowledge, resists everything. And so I'd like to talk, Victoria, in this session about how we can transition from these C clients. And this is for everybody who's joining us.
Employees too.
Is there anyone here who's interested in attracting more A type employees, A type clients, A type business? Anyone here? You type in the chat so we know you're here. You just type A. A. What we want is an A. So that's the blue ink, red ink, Victoria.
Yes, that's great. I thought that was a good one because the visual of the blue ink being sipped into me was very. When you shared that years ago, I thought, wow, such a great example of how, without knowing it, my red ink become blue ink, and I felt when that happened, I'll feel depressed. I feel like, the feeling of wanting to give up is very real. And that, oh, there must be something wrong with me. There must be something wrong with what I am offering. It's just all the doubt and disbelief, which is the opposite of confidence, certainty, and clarity. So I start to add the doubt and disbelief and negativity start to get exaggerated. And from that place, there's no clarity. Everything looks like a blur.
So level 1, 2, and 3, no clarity at all.
Yeah.
And the other people are actually enrolling you into less clarity. And then you feel like you deserve less clarity because of it.
Yes, exactly. Well, the thing is that when there's no clarity, imagine, physical visual, right? We look in front of us. How do we get to where we want to get to? How do we walk from point A to point B without clarity? I mean, I'm short-sighted. If I don't wear glasses or contact lens, I will have a problem walking a straight line.
Well, if you can't see
I'll be
where you
bumping
want to
into
go,
things all the way.
if you don't have clarity, any route will get you there. So
Yeah, with a lot
clarity,
of obstacles, with
that's
bumping
right.
into different obstacles all the way. And
That's right.
in fact, uh, I would stop halfway because it's too difficult.
That's right. So, hey, Victoria, let's go back to finish all 7 levels, and then we'll talk about how the 3, confidence, certainty, and clarity, apply to it. Sound good? All right, great. So we were talking about level 3, underconfident, where we are, more mediocre, compliant, and we are enrolled into that. And then level 4 is where we are overconfident and aggressive. This is where we are too aggressive, too confident, and maybe overestimate ourselves. And then when we get beaten up and don't make it and we fail, we fall down to underconfidence. So we bounce, for many people, we bounce between level 2 and level 4. Level 2, level 4. Low confidence, react and resist, and level 4, where we go from overconfident. So low confident, overconfident, low confident, overconfident. And level 5 is where we are actually confident. We are certain. And then we take on the feeling that we have certainty, that we know what we're doing, and then we can embrace it enthusiastically. Whereas level 4, we're embracing it aggressively. So we're doing it aggressively. And what happens whenever you're aggressive, you're tapping into the force of physics, where force is met with an equal and opposite force. So when you apply force to something, there's something pushing back towards you. Whereas with enthusiasm, you're not engaging that force against you. So enthusiasm is where you can adjust, and your confidence, that whatever happens, you can react to it, you can respond to it, you can handle it, you can change, you're happy to change, you're happy to adjust. Whereas with your level 4, you are overconfident, you don't think you need to change. Level 1, you think you've got it all handled, no change is needed, even though you might say to people, yes, 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 you are convinced of your own opinion. Whereas level 4, overconfident and aggressive, you really invoke this reaction towards you. That's why dominating leaders create rebellion. So the rebellion is the counterforce to the dominating leaders. When they do all the one-way talking, everybody goes quiet, and when they're out of the room, people overthrow them. And that's why a lot of leaders go through this being overthrown, being backstabbed, and they think that it's the other person when actually they're creating that themselves. They create the rebellion. So level 5, you can respond. Level 4, you react by going down. Usually level 4, react by going down. Level 5, when you become more creative, you're unstoppable, because whatever problem you encounter, you can overcome through creativity. You can find a creative solution for any problem. So you're very confident in that creativity, and you have an unlimited amount of creativity, which means an unlimited amount of solutions. So that gives you supreme self-confidence. And it's not ego, because ego stops at level 4. Level 1, 2, 3, and 4 is where ego is, and level 5, 6, and 7 is more from your spirit. And level 7 is when you're in the zone, right time, right place. And you can go up and down these different levels, but level 7, you're in the zone. You think of somebody, the phone rings. You are confident, you just have the beingness, you feel it, and you embody the essence of it, and you don't have to think about it. You just go and do it. Whereas when you're lower down, like level 3, you have to think about everything you do. You have to think through all the implications, all
Worry.
the dangers, all the problems, all the issues. You think. So level 4, 3, 2, 1, you're doing a lot of thinking. Level 5, 6, and 7, you're not so much thinking, you are knowing. You know what to do. You know you can handle it. You know that no matter what comes your way, you can respond. You can be creative. You can communicate. So levels 3, 2, and 1 are not so great at communication because level 3, the communication is restrained. Level 2, the communication is reactive and you create more problems than you solve. Level 1 is monotone and you're just pure mental, no emotion in it at all. Whereas level 4, it's one way, very aggressive. Level 5, it's enthusiastic, it's enrolling, it's engaging. Level 6, very creative, very funny, very entertaining. You can have a good laugh.
I wanted to add one distinction from between level 4 to 5, 6, and 7 because that's where the switch is. So with level 5, 6, and 7, right, we become more agile, more flexible. We are not fixed to one way of doing things. Whereas 4, I know I'm doing, I'm right and you're wrong, and just follow my way. Whereas level 5, if the result needs if there needs to be change, level 5 is willing to make changes, to pivot, and to bridge the gap between what we are getting, what the result is, and take a different action without without making anyone wrong.
You know, that reminds me, Victoria, I have a slide with 7 levels of willingness. And so people level 1, 2, and 3 are not willing to change. And
Yeah.
they react and resist change. And, you know, change is a very unpopular subject. People don't seem to like to talk about change, although everybody knows about change.
Yeah.
I guess if you're not confident and you're not certain and you have no clarity, then change would be very scary.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find change scary, Victoria?
Sorry. I used to, but as I develop more understanding and when I focus on my passion, the results that I want and where I'm heading, change becomes a lot less scarier. Doesn't mean I don't resist sometimes because it depend on what I'm working on. Generally, as I grow in my confidence and my leadership and my clarity, the clearer I am, the more I'm able to change. The less clear I am, the less I'm able to change. So making changes become a lot easier over time as I get more and more clarity. So the time where I resist, so I can at the beginning I might resist like days and months or years. And like these days, if I notice I resist something, it might be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or half an hour, which is very different from being stuck for months and years, or days or weeks.
That's right. That's interesting. So when you're resisting the change, your confidence must be low
Yes.
because you must be level 2 that the change is, you know, not something you want, and so you'd rather stay in your comfort zone. So
Yes. From So level 1, 2, and 3 are looking for other people, other external circumstances to give us a guarantee. It's not just confidence. People at level 1, 2, 3 all want external guarantee.
why do they want
Level
that?
4 not so much, huh?
Why do they want that?
Because they don't have it within themselves. They don't have the confidence, so they need that from the outside. In I mean, if you look at investment, that's one of the best example. Everyone, people are more feel more secure with investing in financial institution because that's where is the most secure in general. And even then, within the financial institution instrument, anything that give a lot of it's not guaranteed, but more fixed return is what people are more geared towards. General public, I'm not talking about everyone.
The reason for the fixed return is because you're not confident that you can pick a higher return. So you put up with less return for more security. So you're emphasizing security over return. So then it's going to take you longer to reach your goals, but you have less to worry about in terms of the risks. So taking risks has to do with confidence. If you're confident that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay, you're going to make it, you're going to be able to respond to it, and you can adjust in a timely manner. Whereas if you're low in confidence, you're not confident that you can respond, that you're going to react, you're going to be confused, you're going to be uncertain, and you're going to have a lot of fear. So people are avoiding fear by taking these low return routes. And I think putting up with a job you don't like or a relationship you don't like seems like it's a smart thing to do, that it has a low level of risk. But I want to propose something, Victoria.
Yep.
My proposal is that if you're putting up with less than what you want is the greatest risk you could take. This is very, very, very risky. To put all your money in a low risk investment and have a very long timeline to get your money to double, for example, or to have an income from it, is a very, very high risk, because you're assuming that you are going to be around for the long, long, long term. And you're assuming that having a low risk strategy isn't going to fill you with blue ink, because I believe the more you go low risk, the more blue ink you get reinforced, and you go on this negative downward spiral that actually the fear and contraction, you're going to attract more people like that. You're going to attract more C players, C investments, C clients, C employers, C relationships, when what you really want is A, you have to let go of the B. And you have to be willing to take risks. And in order to take risks, you have to have the confidence that if things go upside down, if this boat behind me sinks, that I can swim.
Yep. Well, yes, I agree. And that's where true confidence is, right? Where you know that when, for me, if you know that even if you burn the bridge, you won't die, you will survive. And you can make it back again.
Well, a lot of people don't live that way, do they? Because they think that if they lose their job or they lose their money or they lose a relationship, that they can never have it back.
Yeah.
Why do they think that? Why is there this finale that this is the only one? It's like, are you the only CEO on the planet that can lead Gold Zone Group? Like, are we stuck with you? Are you like it and it's
No.
you or nothing? What
No.
kind of thinking is that? That's going to have us putting up with less than. I don't see why the stakeholders of Gold Zone should think that you are the only option. And I think if you thought you were the only option, then that's going to breed a whole lot of complacence, isn't it?
Yep. It's true. It's true. Well, that's ego, right? That, oh, I'm the only one who can lead the group. It's like, it's ridiculous. We have 7 billion people in the world. And of course, if you take out all the children and all that, there's still a lot of super competent people around.
And I like, Victoria, in terms of this confidence, certainty, and clarity, I like the way that Anju McPherson, the co-founder of Gold Zone, she's no longer with us. She passed away from breast cancer 12 years ago. I like the way she put it. She said that supreme confidence, certainty, and clarity has you being irreplaceable and irresistible. And that
That's right.
you want to be like a juicy mango and not dry toast. And so if you're taking people for granted, you're going to be like dry toast. No fun to eat, dry in the mouth, just not pleasant, and then not something you look forward to. Whereas a juicy mango, most people love juicy mangoes, don't they? Where they're sticky, it's inconvenient. Getting into the mango's tough. You've got to cut through the outer layer, then you've got to get the juice all over you, then it gets all over your face. Unless you get someone to do it in a sanitary way and put it in a bowl and you use a fork or a pick and you put it in. But this is no fun, right? So she said we want to be irresistible, irreplaceable, and that comes from a supreme level of clarity where we're going, who we are, what we stand for, what we want, what we will deliver. We don't withhold. We give everything we've got. We are certain about where things are going to end up, and we're certain about our level of response and our level of conduct and our values. When you're clear on your values, you are certain in your action, and no matter how other people respond around you, you are confident. So confidence is the end result of this clarity and certainty. It's the upstream thing that everybody can see, feel, right?
Yeah. It's very obvious when someone is confident, clear, and certain. I want to say that just to you talk about supreme confidence, I just want to share a contrast. A lot of people I talked to over the past 20 over years, how it show up, how when people are not confident, this is how it show up. Basically, they want every step of the way to be in front of them, and that they need to know, how do I get from point A to point B, point B to point C, point C to point D. If I miss out, if I can't see any of this point, I'm not going to do it. So
Oh,
every step of the way have to plan out in front of them. If they can't see any step, they are not going to do it.
so where's the creativity in that?
There's no creativity.
If all the steps are already laid out in front of you, where's the fun in that? There's no discovery, there's no exploration, there's no anticipation, there's no excitement, there's no thrill of new things. It's totally devoid of any of the level 5, 6, and 7. You can't get in the zone if everything's laid out for you, because it's going to be by rote, by
There's
routine.
no,
Like,
there's no innovation from there. It has to be this way. And if the plan is laid out, you cannot change it. Please don't change any plan. If you already tell me this is a plan, don't change it.
so these people react to the change in the plan because they like to see all the steps laid out, and then
Yeah,
they don't have the energy to handle the responding part.
yeah,
They just want it to be exactly the way they expect it, and when
yeah,
it deviates, so this is a difficult thing because we live in the age of exponential growth, in the age of transformation, in the age of accelerating acceleration. So the amount of changes is becoming faster and faster and faster.
exactly.
We need to be more flexible, right? Not less.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Well, being flexible help us being able to compete with the world of technology, world of AI, because
How's that?
human being.
How's that, Victoria?
Yeah, because AI is more logical. AI is all logical. Everything goes by logic. 1 plus 1 equals to 2. 2 plus 2 equals to 4, and it's all based on a certain formula. It's based on what do you call that, programming, right? And of course, it gets evolved as we put in more input into the AI world. But who is the one putting in the input? We cannot. The problem is that we can't compete our intelligence with AI, because their ability to assimilate information is way faster than any one of us as an individual. And they
That's
have
true.
inputs from the population in the world,
That's
essentially.
true.
So
If you
how do we
take
compete with them?
if you take the job of a radiologist, which is looking at scans for disease, and the radiologist has a certain amount of experience over a certain number of years, but the AI can have millions of scans and the results over time, and is much better at predicting and detecting and knowing where it's going to end up
Yeah,
than a human being can be. So passing large amounts of data and coming up with a split second conclusion based on that, yes, you can't compete with that. So we
no.
have to do it in a different way. It has to be something that's more human.
Which is, to me, the biggest competitive advantage we have is emotional agility, which allows us to be flexible, allow us to connect with each other as human being, and to provide services or to provide values that an AI can't replace, at least for now.
Mm. They seem to be able to do quite a high level of creativity in terms of creating videos and images based on an input from a designer. You can give it some instructions and it'll create an output with less time and less effort than a human. So the emotional agility you talk about gives you the flexibility. So if you are emotionally agile, that means that you can learn really fast and you can unlearn and then you can relearn. And a lot of people are stuck with what they have learned, what they have done, how they got here, and they want to continue with that same model going into the future, which means they're supremely confident in the past, and then they're projecting the past into the future, that the future is just an extension of the past, but it isn't.
Yeah. Well, these are the people who can't get ahead because they think that everything in the past is hunky dory, and
Mm.
but the world is changing. So if we are not fast enough to evolve, which takes quite a lot of emotional agility, which means that I got to be willing to be wrong, and being willing to be wrong takes emotional agility and maturity to let go and surrender my ego that, well, maybe I'm not, moving into the future. I got to do something different, which need me to face my own, because being wrong, the feeling of being wrong is very tough for a lot of people. No, most people don't like to be wrong. What do you mean
So
I'm wrong?
level 1, 2, and 3 don't like admitting they're wrong.
Yes.
Level 4 don't really like it either because the pinnacle of ego is level 4. So
Yes.
level 1, 2, 3, 4 are ego, and you have to be confident to admit you're wrong.
Yes.
To say, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. I was wrong and I should have done it this way. And you tried to tell me and I didn't listen.
Yeah.
And to me, that's such an easy thing to say and to mean it. And of course, you can fake it. But level 1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't like admitting that they are wrong because their whole model is based on being right and getting it right. And they're confident they're right. But what happens if you're supremely confident that you're right and you're dead wrong?
Well, it's going to reflect in our results. Like, during the weekend, we were working with a group of clients, and one of the easiest example is Kodak. The CEO of Kodak said we didn't do anything wrong, but we lost.
Oh, that's Nokia. That's the
Oh,
CEO of
Nokia,
Nokia.
sorry. It's Nokia,
But
Nokia. But
Kodak did the same
yeah,
thing. But yes, you're
yeah,
talking about Nokia. They didn't do anything wrong. They were very good at what they did, and they
yes,
produced excellent handsets.
yeah,
I had a Nokia handset, but Nokia didn't adapt and change
yeah,
to where the market was going and didn't innovate, and we're in an old paradigm and hunkered down in the old paradigm. Meanwhile, the new paradigm went whooshing by. And in the same vein, Victoria, I saw Steve Ballmer, the then CEO of Microsoft, making fun of the Apple iPhone and how little their sales were and who would want a phone like this. It doesn't even have a keyboard, doesn't have a stylus. And he
oh,
was joking and
oh my
poking fun at
god,
them. And he said within a few years, they're going to be out of business. And, this could
oh
sink the
my
ship.
god.
And then he was predicting what happened to Microsoft is that Microsoft's phone gone. And, where is it now? And look at what happened with Apple. It was like a different paradigm. And they were confident that they had the courage of their beliefs. And that's the thing that makes people confident and will get you in the zone, is that if you're willing to admit when you're wrong, you can be very right. But if you're not willing to admit that you're wrong, you are going to be wrong a lot. And then you won't admit it. And then how do you change if you won't admit when you're wrong?
That's the
How
thing.
do
We
you
don't have to change when we don't want to be wrong. That's the whole point. Don't want to change. I'm right. I don't need to change. You are the one who needs to change. That's it's not me. I'm not the one who is not listening. You're the one who is not listening to me.
wow. Uh, I mean, that seems so simple while we're here chatting on LinkedIn, isn't it? It seems so simple that
Mm.
you just admit that you're wrong when you're wrong, and then you can correct from that. You can make changes, and you can be confident that You can be wrong and still survive.
Yeah.
Whereas these people hang on with their fingernails to being right, and they end up being so wrong. It's bizarre how pervasive this is. And one of the things, Victoria, that makes me so confident in a lot of things that I do is that I learned many years ago from a guy by the name of Jay Abraham. And I worked with him in 1994, 95, 96. So it was over a course of 2 years. And he is a marketing genius. Back then, he wasn't known in Asia. So I'm one of the team who brought him to Asia and opened up the market for him. And he had this methodology of helping businesses to grow by thousands of percent in a predictable way. So he could look at any business, and then you could come up with a strategy to grow it systematically. So one of the things I learned from him was that you can be very confident if you test. So a lot of people, they will bet the farm on an investment or on a strategy. They'll bet everything on it because they're overconfident and they don't want to admit they're wrong. But if you don't know whether you're wrong or not, you can be confident that you don't know. So I don't know what I don't know, so I'm confident that I don't know. Therefore, if I'm going to invest 1,000, 10 or 100 or $1 million in something, before I go put all that money on it, I'm confident I don't know whether it's going to work or not. So do I want to take $1 million risk on this? The answer is no. But do I want to take $1,000 risk? Yes. So what I do is I take $10,000 and I test 10 different approaches. And this can be applied to any area of leadership, business development, growth, personal development, personal leadership. You can apply it across the board. You take 10,000 out of your million and you test 10 different approaches with 1,000, and then you will know which one works and which one doesn't. And one of them you'll find will work gangbusters, maybe 1,000 times more than all the others. One of them. And it's the one you least think will work. Usually it's like this. You least think it will work, but you've wasted $9,000 on all these other things. One of them is mediocre. One of them is so-so, ho-hum. And one of them is an absolute loser. Or maybe 3 of them are absolute losers. So imagine you put your $1 million on those total losers. But what you do, because you're testing, measuring, and improving, you're not betting the farm, the house on your hunch, which can be wrong. You do this test. You know that one of the 10 is a winner. So you take your $990,000 and you put it on the winner, supremely confident that you already know how it's going to perform. And then you can predictably scale up from there. And that's not a thinking most people have.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that willing to test and trial with a reasonable amount of investment, and once we are confident, we know what we don't know. So we know we don't know. So we test on what we don't know until we get to the part where we know, and we'll put the rest in.
Yes, and you use data, Victoria, because being confident that you don't know makes you certain and confident. So you say, will this work? Well, I'm confident that I don't know. Instead of what a lot of people do who are lacking in confidence, they pretend because they want to look good. They will fake it till they make it. And when you fake it in that way, good chance you're wrong. Good chance it's not going to work out, or you have a 50-50 chance. This is not good enough. This is a high risk. Faking it till you make it is terrible advice. No one should follow fake it till you make it. We all live in an age where we appreciate and value authenticity. So when you can say, I was wrong, I don't know, I'm sorry, these are very powerful.
Agree. It's so opposite from what people think, right? That if I'm wrong, it shows that I'm weak. But the truth is that if I can admit I'm wrong, I'm actually confident. I have more confidence than people who are not willing to admit they're wrong.
That's right. And often parents, Victoria, won't admit to the children when they're wrong
Yeah.
because they think the children will look down on them, won't listen to them. And I'm the first one to admit to my daughters when I'm wrong. And I will say, I'm sorry. It's so easy. I'm sorry. I was a bit growly there. I shouldn't have been. I was upset about something else. I took it out on you. Sorry. And they'll say, oh, that's okay. Or I'm sorry, I was wrong about this. You were right. I didn't listen. And this is how easy is that to say?
Well, how often do children complain when children gets older, they get into their teenager years and all that, right? And one of the biggest complaint that they would have with their parents is that they're always right anyway. I can't even say I can't say much. I don't that not doesn't matter what I say, they're always right.
Well, that's the fixed mindset and the people who are level 1, 2, 3, and 4, isn't it? They always want to be right. But
Mm.
when you're bringing up children, don't you want the children to be more right than you? You want them to be better off than you. You want them to have a better life than you. You want them to be smarter than you. You want them to be more capable than you. You want them to make more money than you. You want them to be happier than you. We all want our children to be better off than us.
Yeah,
We don't want them worse off.
agree.
And as a leader, Victoria, isn't that the same way in the organization? You want everybody else to be smarter, better, more capable, more happy than you.
Well, when that happens, they're going to add more value to the organization. Less work for me.
That's
because
right.
because generally when people are wanting to people want a lot of people likes to add value. They feel good when they are making a difference, assuming they are not stuck in their survival mode, security zone. They are most people by the end of their career. Seriously, I talked to thousands of people over the last 20 years. Most people I talk to, what do you want? If I ask them the question, what do you want to do at the end of the day? If you have a choice today, if you have all the money that you ever needed, what do you want to do? Most people want to do something that can make a difference.
Yes.
And yes, they say, oh, not enough money now, I got to prepare for it, I got to prepare. But that's the ultimate goal that people have. I want to make a difference. They just can't see how they can do it at present time while building their nest, while building their retirement fund, educational fund for children. They can't see it at the moment. And what we advocate is that you don't have to wait until the end of your life to make a difference. What if you're not around anymore? What if you don't have enough energy by then? What if you get struck by illness? What if, I mean, there's so many things that can happen between now and 10, 20, 15, 10, 10, 15, 20 years later or 30 years later.
Well, you bring up something interesting about retirement, that people are saving money and investing for retirement. Then they plan on living the golden years then, and they're worried about not having enough money for retirement. Why would you waste 5 seconds worried about, something 20 or 30 years in the future? Like, what about having the confidence that wherever you're at in 20 years time, you'll be better than you are now? Like, if you're going to be in better shape, you're going to know more, you're going to have more capability, you're going to have more confidence, you're going to have more certainty, you're going to have more options in 20 years' time than you do today. Why would you spend a second worried about that and need to have money as your ultimate guarantee that if the world falls apart, you've got money? Well, if a nuclear bomb went off in your neighborhood, how much money you have and all your plans are worth nothing. And they say, God laughs when men make plans. And I'm not against making plans. I'm all for making plans. I'm all for security and confidence and certainty. But my certainty and confidence and security doesn't come from what I have. It
What
comes it comes from who I am, knowing I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. And I have a lot of creativity and I'm connected to my source. And if I'm going to trust my source and I'm going to get in the zone, where does worry and insecurity go with being in the zone? It's impossible to be in the zone when you're thinking security. You have to let go of the shore and you have to actually sail the ship out in the ocean where the waves are.
Yeah, and I think one of the question that what I wanted to say about the plan. So this is not about not having plan. It's about you can have a plan. You can get into the zone, have a plan. Actually, the plan from the zone is a lot more easier to do than when you try to plan every step of the way without getting into the zone. So we advocate for plan. At the same time, having a plan but not willing to change the plan when it doesn't go the way you want, and that's the problem. That's the part that we are talking about, that people are so fixated. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to have this plan, and don't come rock my boat. I'm not changing my plan because I'm decided this is the plan, this is the way to go. That's the kind of plan that a lot of people have. And one thing that, talking about problem in the future, one thing that Harrison, you have helped me to see, and really it was tough at the beginning when you asked me that question. When I worry about problem in the next few days or in the next week, right? This is one question that you will ask me. Why are you worrying about a problem that doesn't exist at the moment?
Yes, you're going to create it. You are
I'm
going
going
to
to
create
create a
the
problem.
problem by worrying about it. All your attention and your life force and your creativity, your attention, creativity, and life force are all focused on the thing you don't want. And like driving school, don't focus on what you don't want to run into. So you don't focus on the barrier because you run into the barrier. You have to focus where you're going. That requires clarity. But if your attention is stuck on past failure, past wrongs, past upset, anything in the past that hogs your attention takes away from your ability to be present here and now and to see the future with clarity and to be confident. That's the past does really detract from people. So I see a question, Victoria, from Simran. It says, so does that mean they are not doing it now? Yes, they're not doing it now. If everything is focused on when I retire, they live on what I love to refer to as someday island. Someday island. Someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that, someday I'll be happy, someday I'll be fat. No, sorry, wrong one. Someday I'll be rich, someday I'll be retired. It's all for someday. It's not any time in the present.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. And it's
I want
1
to get off
o'clock.
I want to get off Sunday Isle and get onto,
To
the
the
yacht
present
behind
now.
me and sail off into the sunset and drink a pina colada.
Sounds good.
Hey, Victoria, I want to say thank you for joining me today on Confidence, Certainty, and Clarity. I enjoy having these discussions with you, with everybody here. I appreciate everybody who joins us live, and I wish the chat was working. We could put on the screen and have more interaction with that. I can just like people's comments here on my phone, but I can't interact much. And if you have a question for us about confidence, certainty, and clarity, please feel free to type it in the chat, and we will do our best to reply to you later. So
Yep.
thank you, everyone, and thank you, Victoria. And over to you, Victoria.
Thank you. Thank you, Harrison, for co-hosting with me too. I have fun in the session. So yes, we managed to implement our intention, which is to have fun while talking about the subject, confidence, certainty, and clarity. And I appreciate everyone for your comment. And yes, we are not able to reply to a comment as yet, or sometimes while we are talking about what we are, continuing our conversation, we couldn't address what you say. So we do our best to reply to the comment later. And if you want to DM us to have a further chat in about how you can develop more confidence, certainty, and clarity, and get into the zone more, feel free to DM either myself or Harrison. And yes, we will be doing another live session next week, 12 p.m. Singapore time. And what's the date next week? I think it's May 22nd. We haven't decided on the topic yet, but if you want to contribute to a topic of your interest, feel free to comment or DM us. And thank you, everyone, once again. It has been fun and it has been great talking about the 3 C's. And we'll see you again.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everyone. See you next week, noon Singapore time.
My pleasure.
Siri
My
answers me. See, the AI is listening all the time. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.